Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the movies that make us think, feel, and question everything. And today, we're breaking down the life of Chuck, the 2024 Stephen King adaptation, directed by Mike Flanagan, that's already being hailed as a tearjerker masterpiece. And this movie may appear in 2024, but its global release is on 2025. So if you've seen it, then you might know that it's totally hits different. It's raw, it's real, and it's structured in a way that's unlike anything else this year. So in this video, we'll do a full plot breakdown, but with spoiler-free at first. And I will also explore if this is truly 2025's most emotional film, unpacking its themes of life, death, and joy. And most importantly, what lessons does it teach us about how to live? So if you're new here, then hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our breakdowns of the hottest movies. Then let's start with a spoiler-free overview. So The Life of Chuck isn't your typical horror or thriller from Stephen King. It's more of an emotional odyssey wrapped in mystery. And the whole story unfolds in reverse, starting from the end of Chuck's life and working backward to his beginnings. And in this movie, Tom Hiddleston stars as Charles Krantz, or Chuck, a man whose ordinary existence unravels in extraordinary ways. And we follow three main acts: the collapse of the world around him, a dance performance that captures his essence, and flashbacks to his childhood joys. It's only 97 minutes long, but it packs a punch with Flanagan's signature style. Just think about atmospheric visuals, a killer soundtrack by Danny Elfman, and a cast including Chiwetel Ejiofor and Mia Sara that brings every moment to life. Then, without spoiling too much, the film flips the script on how we view mortality. It's not about fear, but it's about celebration. And trust me, critics are raving about its heart, with a 92% score, and it's resonating big time in 2025 as audiences seek some feel-good stories amid tough times. Alright, so if you haven't seen The Life of Chuck, pause now and come back, because there will be major spoilers ahead. So based on King's novella from If It Bleeds, the movie is told backward, starting with the third act, Apocalypse, or the End of the World. So the movie opens with middle school teacher Marty Anderson, and he notes several unusual things happening around the world, from natural disasters to the worldwide loss of the internet. And several billboards and advertisements are popping up everywhere, displaying the picture of an accountant named Charles Krantz, with the words like Charles Krantz, 39 great years, thanks Chuck, etc. Then Marty's ex-wife Felicia Gordon calls him, and they ponder if the end of the universe is upon them. And both of them begin seeing more disasters and supernatural occurrences. And after losing telephone service and electricity, Marty goes to Felicia's home so they can stay with one another in the universe's final moments. Then the end of the universe is revealed to be connected to 39-year-old Chuck, who is bedridden in a hospital while dying from a brain tumor. He is accompanied by his wife Ginny and his son Brian. Then Chuck passes away as Ginny tells him, 39 great years. Meanwhile, Marty tells Felicia, I love you, just as the universe abruptly ends. Then the next act is the dance. And we as viewers saw flashback, like 9 months before his death, Chuck is attending a banking conference. And while walking outside, he stumbles upon a busking drummer named Taylor Frank, who sees Chuck and begins drumming for him. He is moved to dance on the spot, attracting a crowd. Then there we also meet Janice Halliday, a young woman who had been dumped by her boyfriend via text, and she also joins Chuck, and they dance together, although Chuck is momentarily hampered by a headache, before continuing on to the crowd's joy. Then after the show, Chuck resumes his day, still pondering why he danced, but in the coming months as his health declines, he has the feeling that the world was made just for that moment, where a performer dances to the end. And it's here we realize that the world's collapse is metaphorical, echoing Chuck's inner world. And the dance isn't just entertainment, it's a metaphor for life's fleeting rhythm. Then lastly, the final act rewinds to Chuck's childhood in a small town, where he's 6 years old and he lives with his grandparents because he lost his father and pregnant mother in car crash. He then lives with his paternal grandparents Albie and Sarah. The bright Sara teaches Chuck how to enjoy dancing, while the sardonic Albie turns to alcohol after his son's death and forbids Chuck to enter their house's cupola, hinting that he had seen the ghosts of people there before they died. And at school, Chuck asks his idealistic teacher, Ms. Richards, about the meaning of the phrase, "I contain multitudes." And Richards explains to Chuck that he contains multitudes, with the memories he gains over the course of his life forming a universe in his head. Then Sara dies after collapsing in a supermarket, worsening Albie's alcoholism. And inspired by his grandmother, Chuck joins his school's dance extracurricular program Twirlers and Spinners, where he emerges as the best dancer of the club and teaches them how to moonwalk. There he has a crush on Kat McCoy, an older and taller girl who is frequently partnered with Chuck. And despite having a boyfriend, Kat asks Chuck to share a dance at their school's fall fling. Then Chuck expresses his interest in pursuing dance to his grandfather, but Albie dismisses him and instead encourages him to be an accountant like him, sharing how math is seen and how it's necessary in everything. Meanwhile, at the fall fling, Chuck is hesitant at first, but decides to let loose and dances with Kat in front of the large crowd, earning cheers from everyone including Marty and Felicia, with the former revealed to be a teacher at Chuck's school. And after being kissed by Kat, Chuck dances by himself outside in the school field, but he injures his hand in the process, which forms a scar. Then years later, Albie dies, leaving the teenage Chuck to inherit everything including their house. And his maternal grandparents from Omaha travel to stay with him until he goes off to college. So now in possession of the cupola's key, Chuck finally decides to enter the cupola and sees an apparition of himself on his deathbed as an adult, which he identifies through his scar. But despite this, Chuck dismisses his vision and promises to live life until his life runs out, saying, "I am wonderful, I deserve to be wonderful, and I contain multitudes." And this ties everything together because life isn't linear, it's a cycle of joy interrupted by endings. So the overall structure is brilliant, and each act builds emotional intensity, culminating in that childlike wonder. This movie doesn't have any jump scares, just quiet devastation that leaves you sobbing. So after hearing the story, here comes the important question: is this 2025's most emotional movie? Well, according to critics and many viewers, yes, The Life of Chuck is 2025's emotional heavyweight. And in a year of blockbusters like Superman and horror flicks dominating, this stands out for its intimacy. And it also compared to tearjerkers like Inside Out 2 or The Holdovers. This movie goes deeper by confronting death head-on without preachiness. And Hiddleston's performance is Oscar-worthy, and you will feel every unspoken regret and spark of life. Then it's emotional because it's personal King's story, inspired by his own health scares, which strips away Hollywood gloss. Well, viewers on social media are calling it therapy in film form, and box office numbers shows that it's connecting with people, grossing over $50 million on a modest budget. So if you're burned out on action flicks and horror movies, then this will wreck you in the best way. Then lastly, at its core, The Life of Chuck teaches us to embrace the now. Life's not about the big wins or avoiding pain. It's the small dances, the rainy parties, the connections that matters. And the reverse narrative flips our obsession with the future, like why worry about the end when the beginning holds all the magic? It reminds us mortality isn't the villain, but numbness is. And Chuck's story urges living vibrantly, even as the world falls apart. So in 2025's chaotic vibe, where uncertainties are everywhere, this is a call to find joy in the everyday. Ultimately, this movie teaches resilience through celebration. So watch it, and you'll hug your loved ones a little tighter. So The Life of Chuck isn't just a movie, it's a mirror to our own lives, proving Stephen King can break hearts as well as he builds scares.